to Unit 10. This overview is going to be very brief. Just want to kind of give you a sense of what the next few weeks are in terms of the content of the course. I've got us here in the assignment checklist, just so that you can kind of get a sense of the kinds of things that'll be due. Again, you're going to see the reflections here a good bit. Those are basically your quizzes, so make sure you're doing those well. I did share with you a link to 3 that I thought were pretty good so that you get a sense of what we're looking for. Next week, we're going to be beginning our group discussions online, or video chats of small groups of you having discussions. I can imagine that there will be a couple more of these added throughout the unit, so just be prepared for that. And then you still have the big things you're working on, the Roman Monument Project, and in about a week or so, we're going to introduce the Res Gestae project, which I think you'll like. But of course, it's a project, so how much can you actually like it? So what are we going to be doing? In the lit side, it's pretty easy. For the next several weeks, we're going to be reading Virgil's Aeneid, the great epic poem of Rome. So I want you to, as you're reading that, see what Virgil has borrowed from Greece, and there's a great deal. And the Romans do this a lot in much of what they are. They borrow from other cultures, especially the Greek culture, but then they make that thing that they've borrowed distinctly their own, distinctly Roman. So as you're reading the Aeneid, see how they've borrowed aspects of the Iliad and the Odyssey and turned it around to make it something that is distinctively Roman. On the history side, we're going to be covering a great deal. We're going to be starting with Augustus and this transition from a republic to an empire and how he tried to do that gradually. And then we're going to talk about the emperors a little bit and some of their personalities. Some of them were, let's just say, interesting. We're going to read about Nero, one of the more interesting of the bunch. The philosophical emperor, Marcus Aurelius. We'll read about some of the great military emperors like Trajan. And we'll see, let me see here if I can block this. We'll see kind of, and Trajan is where the empire expands the most, but we'll see how this little tiny city, remember that we talked about at the very beginning of its founding, came to rule all of this area. And what challenges, and you can imagine what challenges are in place and exist when you're trying to rule this amount of area and this many different people, this many different cultures. So we will talk a lot about that. And then we'll talk about one thing that creates significant issues for control of the empire, and that is the rise of Christianity. In virtually all of the other units, we have had part of the civilization was their religious views, right? That's what helped make one civilization what it was. But in Rome, they have this old religious perspective, but within that then grows this new religion, something brand new. And it happens almost at the same moment that the empire is born. There is a person by the name of Jesus of Nazareth, born almost at that very time, and we'll see how the spread of the followers of Jesus impacts the empire itself. So we're going to talk a little bit about the beliefs of the Christians, and then we're going to talk a lot about how these beliefs potentially caused some issues for the empire, and how the empire reacted. So that's the unit. I think it'll be a very interesting one. Uh, it's it's a long one, right? It's a month long, so there's a lot of different things in here. So as you're going through, try not to lose track of these big picture items, right? Don't I want you to focus on individual texts as we go, but then think about, okay, how does that inform my understanding of this big picture about the empire? Thank you very much. If you have questions, please, please, please email. Thank you very much.